I'd come over and see if you need any help finding anything. Is there anything particularly that you're looking for? Oh, graphic novels and comics. Yeah, absolutely. We have quite a big selection of those. Are you looking for recommendations? Yes, okay, great. Well, I have some favorites that I can pick out for you, and then we can go through them together if you like, and you can let me know what sounds intriguing to you. Does that sound good? Okay, great. Alright, I'm just gonna grab some books, and I will be right back. Alright, my first recommendation is called Paper Girls. It's currently an ongoing series, and the authors are Brian K. Vaughan, Cliff Chang, Matt Wilson, and Jared K. Fletchers. What actually surprises me about this book is it's all male authors, but it has a very excellent female coming-of-age storyline, and very great female-written characters. So it's a cast of 4 girls, and I would recommend this book for fans of Stranger Things or other sci-fi lovers. And I'll read you a bit on the back about the premise. In the early hours after Halloween of 1988, 4 12-year-old newspaper delivery girls uncover the most important story of all time. Suburban drama and supernatural mysteries collide in this smash hit series about nostalgia, first jobs, and the last days of childhood. So yeah, it is a really lovely coming-of-age comic. It's got a fairly complicated storyline, but at its heart are very 4 realistic characters. And it's kind of about like the formation of kind of unlikely friendship, and also there's a bit of like time travel, existential questions, technology, all really deep themes, and it's also just so beautiful. All the covers have kind of this neon style, and yeah, it's just really beautiful illustrations and also a really great story. So I would recommend that if you're looking for kind of a longer ongoing series. Yeah. Would you like me to put that aside for you? Wonderful. Yeah, one of my favorites. I was hoping you'd like it. My next recommendation, we unfortunately don't have the first volume. So we have the second volume of the series, but perhaps you've heard of it. This is Snot Girl, and it is about a fashion blogger named Lottie, whose nickname is Snot Girl after her very unfortunate allergies that affect her life. And she's kind of got this effort to look poised and perfect on her blog, but her real life is not so glamorous. She doesn't have very great friends. She just went through a very messy breakup, and she really only has her life together online. And at the start of the series, she meets who she calls Cool Girl Caroline. She gives a nickname to everybody in her life. And Caroline seems to really have everything that Lottie wants. And it's sort of that, like, kind of crush where she, like, doesn't know if she wants to be with her or be her. And she doesn't think she's cool enough to do either of those things. But yeah, it's got really beautiful illustrations. And it's a comic that's, like, very funny, and witty, and, like, can be lighthearted at times, but it also kind of has a serious, like, mystery and bloody plot, like, underneath all that. So it's really intriguing. I love it. It's from Brian Lee O'Malley and Leslie Hong. And you may know Brian Lee O'Malley from Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, probably what he's most well known for. But yeah, I would recommend this series. I'd recommend you maybe come back when we have the first volume back in stock. But maybe that's something you can put on your list if you come visit us again. Yeah, it's a really beautiful cover. I love it so much. This is the second volume. California Screaming. Yes. Okay, so I will reshelve that since I think I probably won't want to pick up the second volume, but that's a good recommendation for me the next time we're here. Yeah, okay, great. How are those so far? Are those in line with kind of what you're looking for? Yeah, okay, great. I think I pegged you right for what you're interested in. Okay, so I have a few more recommendations. Alright, great, I'll grab them. Okay, my next recommendation is actually a work that's by a local Toronto artist. She's a graduate of OCAD. It's Kat Verhoeven, and it is called Meat and Bone. It's an interesting looking comic because it is this long format where the panels span horizontally, which is actually quite different. I've never seen that before. And it's got a very beautiful art style. And this book is about Anne and her two friends, Gwen and Jane, who are all living together for the first time. They're all in they're mid-20s, and they're all going through some coming-of-age life experiences. Anne just went through a breakup, and she is struggling with body image and self-confidence. And I would put a trigger warning on this book for mention of eating disorders. And she meets her downstairs neighbor, Marshall, who is a girl she starts to fall in love with, but the problem is that Marshall is suffering from an eating disorder, which is starting to trigger Anne's old bad habits. So it's about her kind of making the decision between straying farther into bad coping mechanisms or choosing recovery. And it's got some really amazing female friendships. Anne's friend Jane is starting to work out at the gym and gain confidence in a different way. And then her friend Gwen is starting to explore polyamory. So it's all about friendships, relationships. It's a realistic fiction. And the one really cool thing about this book is the colors are so vibrant, and they kind of go from these overtones, you'll see here, from orange to green to red to purple, and the whole panel span those color palettes. It's really gorgeous book. Yeah, some really heavy topics, but handled in a really realistic and insightful way. I really love this book. I really would recommend it. Yeah. Can I set that aside for you? Is that something you think you'd be interested in reading? Yes? Okay, great. Wonderful. Yeah, this is a great one. I'll set that to the side. My next recommendation is a book that I have actually another one by this author as well. It's Riko Tamaki and her sister Jillian Tamaki, who worked on this one. Riko Tamaki is an amazing visual artist and storyteller, as is Jillian, an amazing storyteller. And this book, this one summer, really captures the feeling of pre seems like they might be on the verge of a divorce. And so Rose starts to act out a bit because of that, and doesn't treat her friend Wendy so nicely. So it's about their friendship together, and them coping with kind of that shift in childhood where you start to worry about adult problems. But yeah, it really captures like that feeling of summer. And it's like in this beautiful kind of inky blue art style. And yeah, I really love this book. A perfect summer cottage read. Yeah. Would you like this one as well? No, maybe a bit too slice of life for you. That's totally fine. It is more of a subdued, very artistic book. Not as much plot happening. It's very like slow paced and like very character driven. Yeah. Alright, well, I will reshow that one then. No problem. No problem. Okay, my next recommendation is a little bit different than the other ones. This is called Squad, and it is by Maggie Dokadal and Lisa Serrell. And the tagline on the cover is, "Anyone would kill to belong." And by looking at this cover, you might guess a little bit about the themes. And so this is a kind of a feminist horror. Yeah, it's really cool. I would recommend this for anyone who maybe likes the movie series Ginger Snaps or Heathers. Yeah, kind of this like horror black comedy book. This is about Becca. She just started at a new school, and at her old school she wasn't very popular. So she's kind of got this urge to fit in with other people and kind of make a new image for herself. She falls in with a crowd of 3 very popular girls, but the girls have a secret. They are werewolves. And what they do to satisfy their werewolf hunger is they hunt down, this book with another trigger warning, boys who are predators who have like sexually assaulted other girls, and instead of just eating innocent people, they target these boys specifically, and they have specific rules to be a part of their pack. And they always like clean up their kills really nicely and like go to new towns to keep that nature hidden. And what goes wrong is they start to break some of their rules, and when they kill somebody they know at their school, everything starts to fall apart for them. And then tensions in their friendship starts to run really high. So yeah, this is a great book. Really diverse cast, queer cast, and just like such a lovely art style. Really beautiful, really colorful. And yeah, definitely one of those books that's kind of about female friendships, and both how wonderful and also how toxic they can get, depending on what's going on. Yeah, I love this one. Really intoxicating read. And yeah, I really wish there was a follow-up, honestly. Like, really wish there was a second one of this. But yeah, is that something you'd be interested in if you like horror comics? Yeah. Okay, great. I promise that it's there's a little bit of blood, but like not too much, and like it's just really fun to watch these like really glamorous girls turn into werewolves. Yeah. Okay, great. I'll set that aside for you. Okay, I think I have about 3 more recommendations for you that I will get into. This is another coming of age supposed to be going on a trip with her boyfriend to a dragon sanctuary overseas, but right before the trip they break up, but she's very scared to tell her mom, so she lies that they're still going on the trip. And she forces her best friend Angela to keep up with this lie, which is very difficult because Angela is actually working for Rory's mother in a pharmacology lab studying magical plants. So there's magic in this book, a really interestingly built witch society and witch world, so very cool magic and world building, but at its heart, it's really about friendships and difficult family relationships, and is mainly about Rory struggling with her complicated relationship with her mother, and the fact that Angela, her best friend, is growing close to her. And it's about kind of struggling to find yourself and your career path as well. In that weird spot in your mid-20s where you're not really sure what you're doing, which is, I think, something that everybody can relate to. So yeah, it's really lovely. Purples, yellows, greens, really richly colored. Absolutely love the art style. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful book, and this is by Sophie Goldstein and Jenna Jordan. Yeah. Is that something that you would be interested in? Wonderful, wonderful. Alright, I will set that aside with your other choices. Okay, we have another book that actually has a trigger warning as well for struggling with eating issues and body image issues. And this is about a girl named Mindy, and it is called Eat and Love Yourself by Sweeney Boo. I love that name, Sweeney Boo. I don't know a lot about the author, but such a cute name, oh my goodness. So she's a young woman, Mindy, on the front cover here, and she is living with a eating disorder, and she accidentally discovers something that will give her a chance to revisit the past and the relationship she's lost by eating a piece of this chocolate bar. She finds this You Are Beautiful milk chocolate. Each time she eats a piece, it takes her back to one of her memories, and it's sort of her re-examining her life, and the person she used to be before her disorder, and kind of examining where things changed in her life and how she feels about herself. And so it's sort of her trying to find a way to bring that into her present day life, even though at the moment she's kind of living in the past by eating this chocolate bar. Yeah, it's a very good book. Really examines how carefree we feel about ourselves when we're younger, and then as the pressure and beauty image standards of the world are imposed on us, that can change. So it's kind of about holding on to your self-worth that you had as a child and that confidence. Yeah, very emotional book. It is a shorter read, but yeah, this is a really emotional and insightful one, and yeah, it's a real treat. Would you like that one? Yeah, no, I totally understand. Having one triggering book might be enough, so maybe you could save this one for another time. Meat and Bone is very heavy, so maybe this one you can save for another visit. Okay, great. Yeah, totally understand. I will reshelve that one. And yeah, that's totally fine. Okay, my dear, I have one final book recommendation for you. And this is the second book by Riko Tamaki. also by Rosemary Valero O'Connell. And this is called, it's got such a funny title, I really love it. It's called Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me. Yeah, this is about a young queer couple in an on and off again toxic relationship. It features our main character, Freddie, pictured staring over Laura Dean's shoulder. And she is in kind of a one-sided love with Laura Dean, who is constantly breaking up with her. I think they break up like 3 or 4 times in the book. I can't quite remember. But she keeps coming back to her. So it's one of those toxic but intoxicating relationships. And basically, Freddie has to learn kind of what's important to her, because she also has these very beautiful like friendships with other people in her life, and her being constantly obsessed with her breakup in relationship is kind of putting a strain on those. So she's kind of got to decide about like her self-worth and like what she will put up with from this other girl. Yeah, it's and her friends just can't understand why she keeps going back. But yeah, it's a really lovely book about teenage relationships, heartbreak, friendships, and I think anybody who's ever been in an on again, off again, unstable relationship will really like relate to this one. And it's very beautiful. It's mostly black and white, but they really use these hints of pink to like bring out the emotion in certain panels. Yeah, really beautiful book. I also just love how like it's got a queer cast, but like them being queer isn't, or like identity coming out isn't really a focus at all. Like they're kind of all just accepted at their high school and in their community. And yeah, this is a really great one. Really would recommend it. Okay, yeah, would you like to take this one as well? Okay, wonderful. All right, can I bag up your purchases for you? Okay, great. We only use sustainable packaging here, so I have tissue paper and I have a paper bag that you can take those in. So I'll just package those up for you. Great. Okay. So you're all set to go. And please feel free to come back and visit us anytime at the Pastel Marshmallow bookstore. If you're looking for more recommendations, I'd be happy to make some for you at your next visit. Thank you so much for